The United States says it's launching strikes on Iran after Iran said it once again closed the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it fired a warning shot at a ship attempting to use an unapproved route, and the vital waterway is closed until further notice. The US says it's launched a third round of strikes, with Iranian media reporting explosions in several provinces. The closure comes after Iran's foreign minister held talks with Oman about managing the strait. Well, defence expert Jennifer Parker from the University of Western Australia's Defence and Security Institute joins me now for a little more on this story. Hi there, Jen. Thanks so much for your time. Look, there's a lot to talk about this morning, but I want to start with these strikes by the United States. What exactly is the US targeting in Iran now, and what will they be hoping to achieve with this?
Yeah, look, Mel, thanks for having me on. I think the strategy here is effectively a deterrence by punishment strategy. So every time Iran attacks a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, and this morning we've heard Iran has attacked a ship 9 nautical miles from Oman. It's currently on fire and one crew member is missing. Now, every time Iran attacks a civilian ship, it's clear that the US intends to respond with strikes across Iran. What we saw during the week with those two strikes is the first strike was about 80 targets, limited to really kind of coastal areas. The second strikes by the US during the week were broader strikes and about 90 or so targets. So I think the strikes today will probably be not limited to coastal areas. They'll be expanding their target list, still probably hitting radar sites, military missile sites, maybe even expanding back towards some political targets. But this is very much about showing Iran that if Iran interferes with civilian shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, the US will respond. And this is a different strategy to what they had during April and during the April ceasefire.
The closure of the strait, Jen, will no doubt have global consequences, as we have seen already previously. Can you explain to us, what Iran means when it says, that unapproved routes are being used? And is the closure of the strait sort of Iran's strongest weapon in this war?
It certainly is Iran's most significant leverage, and that's because the Strait of Hormuz, it's an international strait. Iran dominates the geography to the north of that strait. Now, as an international strait, there is a recognised transit separation scheme in the middle of that strait. The ships are meant to go in and out of the strait using. Now, we found out during the war that transit separation scheme, which is mostly in Omani territorial waters, was mined. So it's not safe for ships to go through that. Now, since then, Iran has been promulgating a route that goes much closer to Iran to encourage ships to go to Iran, close to Iran, and seek approval from Iran before exiting or entering the strait. Now, that would give Iran even further control over the strait. In response, both the US but also the IMO, working with Oman, have established what is a route that is much closer to the Omani coast that allows ships to enter and exit the strait, hugging the Omani coast. Now, Iran is saying that this is not an authorised transit route because Iran doesn't agree with it. It doesn't allow Iran to have control over those ships. And what they mean by saying the strait is closed, it's not really open or closed, but what they're saying is that they intend to attack ships that are heading into or out of the strait using the route close to Oman.
So there's been talk over the last couple of weeks, of course, about conversations between the United States and Iran trying to come to an end to this war. So how do you see the next few weeks and potentially even months playing out?
Yeah, look, it is really difficult to say. There was some reporting last week that there is internal disagreement within Iran about how to consider the Strait of Hormuz and how to respond to shipping going through the Strait of Hormuz. It's clear that Iran sees it in these negotiations. Remember the interim deal signed in mid-June that gave 60 days until mid-August to agree some significant disagreements between the two countries. That interim deal was meant to be providing some economic relief to Iran, but that was staged. But it parked all the harder issues, Iran's nuclear program, Iran's highly enriched uranium, to the back end of the conversation. It didn't solve them. Now, I think it's clear that Iran sees that its only leverage really in this deal, or significant leverage, is its control of the Strait of Hormuz, is its willingness to attack civilian shipping and the impact that has on the global economy and therefore the impact that has on the US. And because they haven't resolved these harder problems that they need to negotiate, Iran needs to maintain that control to have leverage in these negotiations. So I don't think Iran is about to stop attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and I don't think the US is about to allow them to do that unpunished.